What's up, my friends? Welcome to Carpo's YouTube channel. Yada, yada, yada. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the pressures of life and a specific... Now, I was going to come out and make a video about the struggle, about going through hard times and dealing with it and being as strong as we can. You know, being human means suffering. As far as, and I don't mean that to say like some Buddhist philosophy of life is suffering, but that the perceptions that we have of the world around us are strongly determining factors of really how we view each other, whether the world is a scary place or, in other words, whether we look at something new as a challenge or as a punishment. Like, for example, what I'm going through right now with my business is kind of like a decision. Do I want to just abandon and move on to something new because I'm an artist at heart and I want to find something where I can use my artistic endeavors, or do I stick with what I know? In other words, do I stick with what I know works and stick in that comfort zone of, okay, this is my routine, this is what I do? And the funniest thing is, as I was coming out to make this video, I come out and I hear the mailman rolling up. So I walk out there and I meet him, and he's got kind of an accent. I think he's probably from the Middle East somewhere or something. But he's a really nice guy. We don't talk a whole lot, but I can tell, you just know certain people, their demeanor, you can tell that they're coherent, aware people. I mean, I can't help it. I like to give everybody an equal chance, but there are some dumbass motherfuckers out there, pardon my language. And not just stupid or uneducated, but rather just completely unable to like hold a conversation or function or even just to say hi. Like, you know, the grumpy checkers at the store, or the grumpy customer who sits there on their phone the whole time while the checkers, you know, doesn't even talk to the, you know, just people in general are just really rude. Anyway, this particular guy, I've had a couple words here and there, just, hey, how's it going? And so he pulls up and I was like, hey, how's it going, man? And he's like, it's going all right. He's like, yeah, making it through. And he hands me the mail, and I was like, yeah, it's just, I was like, something like every day is another day. And he goes, struggling. And he just kind of nods, and I was like, I know the feeling. And then he just, you know, he drove off. And I thought, you know, this is a very simple thing for a person to say. Hey, life's struggle right now. But you don't say that to a random stranger. Well, I should say, most people don't. It's really nice when people just open up, even with a simple gesture of saying, hey, I'm having a rough time. It opens you up to... I think that a lot of people are afraid to admit that they're having a hard time. But, I mean, of course, there are plenty of people who just sit there and they just milk it for everything they can. Oh my God, I had a flat tire yesterday, and oh, I had to call the AAA, and oh, it was a nightmare. Just shut up, you know. Shut up with your petty whining. That's how I feel about the stupid things. Like, if somebody's going through a situation at the moment, that's fine, but don't sit there and drag out your past crap to try to make it sound like your life is really hard. Because everybody's struggling. Everybody's suffering in their own way. And that's I guess, you know, it's not demeaning or belittling other people's problems. But I know some people with some really big fucking problems that don't complain about it at all. And I know some people I've met who have the easiest fucking life, and they refuse to admit that they actually have it good. You know, they're just, God, it's so hard, you know, so hard. And I know that that's perhaps sounds kind of arrogant or like I'm picking on certain people, and I probably am, because in today's world, I should say in the world in general, in any time, we need strength. We need strength of character, and we need strength and determinism of the individual to show others that we all go through this. But we also need weakness, to show our weaknesses, to show what we consider a weakness, to say, hey, how does this resonate with the rest of you? You know, am I complaining too much about this? You know, it's like the old break a nail thing. You know, that is that old joke. The reason why, oh, I broke a nail, was such a big deal is because, or why it's such a widely used thing in movies and culture is because, you know, there could be somebody out there who breaks their leg in the jungle and keeps on trucking, and then there's somebody who breaks their nail on vacation, and it just upsets them all. You know, oh my God, you know, I don't want to damage who I am. I don't want to damage my fingernails. You know, and that's not picking on women or on looks or anything like that. It's just to say that the things that we complain about are pretty menial most of the time. which is why my, where I'm looking right now is like, okay, I have a family to feed. I've got, a career. I want to find something that I can do long term. And I keep getting pushed out of what I do. But it's not, I know that I can put more effort into certain things and try to work around the system and play the game. Like with the creative business, people have said, well, you can use these certain, processors. You just have to say that you're selling tea or other herbs. And I'm just not playing that game anymore. I'm not, I want to be able to know what I'm doing is honest and straightforward, and that I don't have to lie to any companies or corporations or banks or credit card. But the biggest thing that I wanted to really cover on that aspect is that I just hate the way the system's set up. And when I say the system, that kind of puts me in that almost like the conspiracy category, if you will. Saying the system to me really means nothing more than saying the government. When I hear people say, oh, the government's trying to kill us all, and the government's trying to do this and do that, I'm like, well, what do you mean by the government? Is your mayor of your town trying to kill you? Or are you talking about like some black ops program that nobody even knows about in this country that's funded by your tax dollars? Who are the government, So we generalize and we, say, oh, it's everyone else's problem and it's this and that. So when I say the system, I don't mean that the whole way the world's set up is completely corrupt and crooked and that it's fucked and we're all screwed. Because that's how a lot of people do think, and that's how I used to think. About, say 15 to 20 years ago, my thought was that this whole system needs to disassemble itself. That rather the American economy will collapse because of our love of fiat money and dollars, and just how we're obsessed with I see animal control rolling by. What are they doing? Who are you looking for? Huh? Who are you looking for? That's weird. Anyway, not looking for my dog. He's old. He's all crippled inside. So, the system that I'm talking about has never really... If we were to abolish everything and everything fell apart tomorrow, it was an apocalypse. Whatever the apocalypse might be, a worldwide virus that kills us off, or a solar flare that takes out all the world's power grids. Anything could happen tomorrow. We are so reliant on technology that it could just poof, vanish. And if all the technology went down, if all the circuits went down, we'd be totally screwed. Everything relies on that. GPS and shipping manifests and grocery store ordering forms. And you know how it is if you go into a store and the power's out and they can't use their computers or their computer's down. They're just clueless. I mean, checkers aren't even taught to count money back these days. It's just like, and everything's just so automated that we stopped thinking for ourselves. But that's just the thing. I want to be able to enjoy... Uh-oh. I see the animal control now. They're rolling up on the other side of the street. What the hell you want? I wonder what they're doing. Weird. Should we investigate? Looks like she's walking up to the neighbor's house. Oh, that's funny, because I saw this, the neighbor kid was standing out in front earlier looking at something weird on the side of his house, so I thought maybe that was... Anyhow, that's the job. Oh, the air compressor turned on. So, to try to conclude and not get too long into this, as it's already long-winded, this system that we complain about, we have to, I think we're better off not. We're better off saying, instead of complaining about all the aspects of society that don't work for us, we should say, hey, go ahead and complain about vaccines as killing children if you want to. I know that measles and mumps, these are things that actually killed people in the past and caused major sickness. Polio, My point being is that we're living in a modern world where everything just seems so accessible that we forget that just 100 years ago, people were dying from preventable diseases. And so, look at the advantages that we do have in society, the things that do work for us. Oh, she's got a cage. She's got a cage. I wonder what she's going to catch. I bet it's a raccoon. she's got a cat or a raccoon-sized cage. There have been some odd raccoons around here. Saw one yesterday walking across the street. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of just say, I guess, in a nutshell, that, you know, life is a complicated thing. We all go through moments of trial and tribulation, and it's a test for us as individuals to pull ourselves out of it, because nobody else is going to do it for us. We can sit and complain about things. I could sit and go, oh, boo-hoo, you know, the life's so hard, but it's really not. I'm alive, and I guess unless you've suffered, you wouldn't understand. If you've ever suffered physical, debilitating pain for a long period of time, I've had chronic sciatica that just devastated me. Then when I wake up in the morning and I feel fine, I'm grateful for that. No matter how bad things get, you know, I always think it could be worse. And I'm really curious about this raccoon now. I want to see what she caught. I don't like playing the games. I don't like society's games. I don't like the banking industry. I don't like the cartels that we call businesses. The way that we're forced to use credit cards. Like my perfect example, kind of partially what, you know, I was trying to convey about like my business is that, say, selling kratom, you can't just sell kratom through and just accept a credit card, because the credit card companies have now banned kratom from being sold. So here we have an industry in which we're tied into using these systems, that we're forced to use banks. I mean, and that people look at you funny half the time if you use cash anymore. And yet, but they don't realize that everybody who has to accept those cards, all of the vendors, the stores, the operators, they have to pay these fees just to use it. And meanwhile, the companies just sit there and rake in the cash. They're not really doing anything. They're just raking in the cash. So it's easy to get frustrated at the way things are set up. But I think that we're the only ones that suffer if we sit and complain about it. We just got to thicken up our skin and just move on. Life's too short to complain. Let's see if we got oh. She got him. Damn it. I missed it. I missed all the excitement. Yep, sounds like they're talking about raccoons, alright. Cool. Raccoons are cool. I'm in my bus. Go figure. Take a little spin around. It'll be done soon enough. So, there's my daily ramble. Talk to y'all later.